Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday night live stream. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and good evening, I suppose, as well. I forgot that bit. Nice to see you all chatting away in the chat tonight. Plenty of you in nice and early before the chat even started. So we'll say hello to one and all tonight. Don't forget, tonight, folks, we will be showing off the January Painting Challenge submissions. And the main topic tonight as well, we'll be talking about sort of games that are free to play, and I'll explain exactly what I mean by that, because I'm sure, as always with these kind of titles and these kind of thumbnails, people always have like an assumption about what I mean, and it's always good to clarify exactly where I'm coming from. So let's have a look in the chat and see who we've got. Cheese Me was in nice and early. Good evening to you. Skulldoggery, good morning to you as well. Although he said it was 5 minutes to lunchtime, so good afternoon, sir. Super Pumpkin Man, good afternoon to you as well. Blair, good evening. Wolverine, hello to you as well. We got Christopher Warden in. Good afternoon, mate. As he scrolls down, Christian Reeves, the legend, the moderator. Thank you very much, mate, for coming in and helping as always. Coffee and Pistachio, good evening to you as well. Yoakum, hello mate, how's things? We got RG in as well. Dan Pillow, good evening. We have got Jez Hunt, hello mate, how you doing? We've also got Major Tom, hello Ed. We've got Type 40 TARDIS, we've got Deep Red. We've got James Bray, hello mate, how are you? We've also got Sarah Kiss, good evening Sarah, how are you? Scott Latham's in, Colin Mack, Paul Taylor. We've got Zingbo in, said he's trying to finish off some models, been cluttering up his desk for too long. James is saying he's going to finish painting for the first time in about 6 months. I know that feeling, mate, as well. Wayne Haywood, good evening, how are you? Just says, hey, it's that geezer off the interweb tube. Hello, fella. Jazz Cat, good evening as well. He says, we are live. We are live. Good morning, Wolverine. James is saying he's about finished his May painting challenge. I don't even think I managed one last year. I'll let you all into a secret though. I did manage January's challenge, so I have something in this month's challenge for a change. Jess says all games are free if you're a bandit. You're not wrong there, mate. Clyde Dashing, good evening, mate. Biffo, good evening to you as well. Alex Berry, hello, fella. And he says, have you chosen your Conquest faction after your famous victory last week? We'll get onto that, mate. We'll get onto that in a bit. We've got Dan as well, the Grey Knight. Good evening to you, Dan. And Wolverine scene. He got the Marvel Crisis Protocol starter set finally. Very nice. So, good evening, one and all. We've got a nice little gang in tonight. Please don't forget to say hello if it's your first time here. Please say hello if you haven't already. Say hello. It's always nice to see who we have in the chat, which folks have joined us. If you haven't already liked the video, it's always nice to give it a little thumbs up as well. It certainly helps to tell YouTube that folks are enjoying it, and it pushes it out to the wider world. You'd be surprised what difference it makes. So yes, thank you very much. Frantic, good evening as well. Hissy Cat Bills, here to you. Because of Ben's in as well, hello. And Jez says, poke the like. Give the like a good thump and a smash and all them kind of things. So, yes, tonight we'll be chatting about games that are free to play. And what I mean by that are games where all of the rules, all of the information that you need is completely free. We talked a little bit last week about how expensive Warhammer has become, and I said, in my controversial opinion, I didn't think it was as expensive as people make it out to be. And now I think that people think that it is overly expensive because people feel a need to buy every single bloody thing that comes out, and that's why it gets expensive. However, I would agree that the rules are expensive. I'm not a huge fan of paying big sums of money for rules that are constantly changing, and army books and codexes and whatever you want to call them, and expansions, and then paying for the points and all those kind of things. So that's what we're talking about tonight. We've got Tanith Lord, good evening. He says, hello. First time watching the live as I'm normally on night. Well, hello, mate. Thank you very much for joining us. James says, I took a video of my 5-year-old yesterday and he said at the end, love you guys, put a like in the comments and smash the bell. My little boy does the same thing as well, mate. I think they've all been corrupted by the tube. Angel McLeod, good evening, says, hope you're well. Just wondering if you know much about Rumble Slam, Guild Ball or Pirates of the Dread Sea. I know a little bit about all of them, mate, but I'm by no means an expert. What would you like to know? Bobman Gaming, nice to see you in as well, Bobman. Just seen you got a hold of the Kings of War Ambush Goblins box and stuck it together. Lovely minis, and now I'm painting. Good times. The Goblin is one of the nicer boxes, I would say, of the different sets. Peter Stockdale, good evening to you, mate. How are you doing? Cheese Me says, let's get ready to rumble. Need to find my Kickstarter copy of Rumble Slam. I've got Rumble Slam, the original copy. I've played it quite a few times, but I must admit it's not something I get to the table on a regular basis. But that's more just because there's so many games out there, really. VJ, good morning to you, mate. I hope you're doing well. I did see your message about you're taking Declan off to school. Is he back to school after the summer holidays, the Christmas holidays? I don't know what you would call them. Yeah, he's just saying his first day back at school for the school year. Yeah, and Jazz is saying my shop being a shop that I play at. There you go, mate. Summer holidays. I wouldn't assume if you call them the Christmas holidays or the summer holidays. Tasty Brindrin says, that's a good question. What's your favourite Conquest faction and why would it be the Woodrun? So I did have my first ever demo of Conquest, The Last Argument of Kings, a game by Parabellum Games. For those that are not familiar with it, it is like a rank and flank kind of game. The game has been around for a little while, but it does seem to be sort of getting a little bit of a second wind, shall we say. It's getting a bit of buzz lately, and certainly in my local area, the club that's local to me that I attend, there's quite a few players there at the moment. So I had a demo of the game on Friday night, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good. There's some nice things about the game that I've not seen in other systems. I like the fact that the miniatures are a bit of a larger scale. I haven't decided if I like any of them enough to delve into painting a full army of them yet, but it's definitely a game I'll be playing again and giving it another try. Give more sort of demos and more sort of bigger points games. I think we played about 1,200 points for our first kind of demo game. I played against a guy, Dave I think he was called, who never played before, hadn't really played miniatures games before, so it's pretty cool that he was giving it a try for his first game. I played Spires, he played 100, is it 100 Kingdom? Not 100 Kingdom. It could be the 100 Kingdom, I forget the name now. Yeah, and I managed to win for a change, because I did what I always do, and I played the scenario rather than just trying to kill everything. I actually played for the victory points. Yeah, 100 Kingdoms sounds about right. Yeah, that was it. Do you know what it is? I thought it was right, and it was when I said it out loud, I was thinking, that can't be right. That's not the right name. Yeah. Mordecai is saying, how many models in an army for Conquest? One of the things about Conquest that I found quite interesting was there are lots of different ways to kind of build your lists, and you can build quite an elite list so that it doesn't have a lot of models in an army, versus building it kind of very sort of infantry heavy, if you like, where you have quite a lot more models in. So basically what generally happens is each of your units has what you call 3 stands, and each stand generally has 4 models in for the smaller infantry models. So you're talking about 12 models per kind of rank if you like, or rank and flank block if you like. You can put additional ones in. Some models are just like one bigger model that takes up a full sort of 4-way stand, so you might only have 3 models in that chunk. And then there's obviously some bigger like monster type models as well. And then what you can also do is you can put your heroes in, your kind of like your leaders and your bannermen and things like that. You can put them into the ranks as well. So in the list that I had, I would say there was probably, off the top of my head, probably about, I'm trying to think now, I would say somewhere in the region of about 50 or 60 models, something like that. But we played a smaller points game, I would say. But if you go up to like sort of a full 2,000 points, I would say it needs less models than Kings of War, and it needs more models than something like, I can't even think in comparison. Would it need more models than... I'm not even sure it would need more models than something like 40k or like Age of Sigmar in comparison. I would say it's roughly a kind of a similar amount, really. Coffee and Pistachios saying how much larger are Conquest models than usual 25mm, 32mm. They're kind of they're a bit chunkier. They're kind of more like 40mm, I would say. That little bit taller, that little bit more chunky. I've not sort of compared them side by side, but I'm sure there'll be some pictures online or something like that. And Tony's saying, yeah, he thinks they're about 40 as well. And Tony's saying that the scale sounds painter friendly. I would say that they are painter friendly in terms of kind of size, mate. They I certainly find as I get a bit older and I'm not as steady and my eyes are not as good, painting bigger models like Marvel models and things like that is certainly a bit more kind of painter friendly for me, mate. So yeah, but overall I enjoyed the gameplay itself. I'll definitely be playing it again. And to answer Alex's his question, have I settled on a faction? I haven't yet, mate. I keep looking and I keep going backwards and forwards. Wolverine says, are you going to play Star Wars Shatterpoint? I'm kind of like 95% of the way there, sort of assuming that I'll buy into it. The only thing that's making me hold off at the minute is I'd quite like to see some gameplay. I want to see what it's like. I love Marvel Crisis Protocol as a rule set. I love the way the models kind of interact with each other and they interact with the scenery. So I'm assuming it will be along a similar kind of sort of design path to that. I don't think it's just Marvel with Star Wars miniatures. There's quite a few differences that we've already seen in the way that you kind of build your sort of your war bands or your factions or whatever, and you can obviously mix and match good and evil as well, or light and dark as it would be for Star Wars. And so yeah, once I've seen a bit of a gameplay or I've seen something more of the rules, that will probably get me over the hurdle to get in and buy that starter set. But yeah, I mean, barring it being a complete disaster, yes, I will be picking it up. Just to say, the goblins are shrinking as I'm painting them. Yeah, that's probably the one reason I've never painted anything like goblins, mate, is yeah, my old eyes, they're not what they could be. AMC, good evening, says, have you tried Dystopian Wars? Very briefly, I've tried it. I've got a few of the starter sets and some of the expansion sets and things like that. Models are very nice if you're into kind of like naval warfare and the ships and stuff. The models are very nice, but the game, the problem is when they sent me the starter set, the actual rules for the ships weren't out yet. So I got it early before launch, so I was kind of looking at it then, but I couldn't try it because the rules weren't, like, I had the rules but all of the stats were online and I couldn't access them because they hadn't been kind of released yet. And then later on, when it released properly, they kept updating them really quickly with keep tweaking things and changing them. So I kind of decided I was going to like sort of let it go for a while, let it settle down and kind of iron out all the kinks and stuff like that. And to be honest, I've just never really got a chance to go back to it. So I don't know a lot about it, but beautiful models, I would say that. Wolverine saying he's probably not going to play it. He's not the biggest Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars fan, so it's good for me. Cheese Me says $160 for starter sets. A bit rough though. I think it depends on your kind of your value equation, really. I think it's like £145 in the UK, but you do get quite a lot of models in it. You get some scenery in it. You get the measuring sticks. You get the dice and stuff. So value for what you get, I think isn't too bad actually. And actually there's a lot of starter sets that are creeping up in price now, so I don't think it's massively out of line for what's in the box. But no doubt once it starts to hit retailers and stuff, there'll be a bit of discount anyway. Talent Lord says, see, this is why I'm excited for boarding action. Reminds me of the old combat patrol for old school peoples. Yeah, I think boarding action thing, I think it looks pretty interesting. It's something to sell a load more terrain, unfortunately. So not only you might get away with smaller armies, but you need to have some kind of way of creating that board, and generally people will buy the GW terrain kits, won't they? Wolverine said, I don't get why GW releases rules across multiple different books. just because they always have, mate, and they sell them and people buy them, so why not? Cheese Me saying Boarding Action is what 40k kind of was when it was called Rogue Trader. Well before my time, mate, that's for sure. Tasty Brain Train says, in all serious, Conquest does have a lot of good factions. I think they've got 7 factions at the moment, and they've actually just today announced an 8th faction that they're going to be working on in the future. And I'll be perfectly honest, there's some models that I'm just not particularly keen on, and the website isn't the best for seeing the models. Like, you can see them in big sort of like ranks and stuff, but it's not the greatest for seeing individual models to see if it's something that you want to paint and stuff. So I've been doing a bit of searching online and kind of trying to see which things float my boat. Because of Ben saying I'm printing the terrain for Boarding Action. Yeah, if you've got a 3D printer, I think that's definitely the way forward. I was looking at some stuff online, and it's definitely there's lots of cheap STL files and even some free STL files, and I almost made a video about it to say, is it like, can you buy a 3D printer and the filament and the STL files and print out your terrain cheaper than buying the GW stuff? So that was almost a video idea I was going to have a look at. Matt says the poorly fitting GW terrain kits. I did see about those. I actually bought a box of the Into the Dark Kill Team stuff, so I've got some of that terrain, and it fits together all right. It's quite snug, but I know what's happening is by the time people put paint on it, it becomes a little bit too snug, if you like, doesn't it? Red Rose Wargaming, good evening, Anna says, didn't get a notification again. I don't think YouTube likes me very much, Anna. It's a bit of a pain, isn't it, to be fair. Good evening, Matt, by the way. How are you doing? Wolverine saying, I finally finished the movement of my war game. Oh, so you're working on the factions now. Nice one, mate. Because of Ben saying, for the short run, buying the terrain is more affordable. Long run, printing is cheaper. I'm not that sure, mate. You're saying the startup cost will be the pain when starting 3D printing. You say that, but the cost of the terrain packs are well over 100 quid. Like, they're very expensive for the terrain packs, and you can buy printers for less than that. So actually, I think it's affordable. The Tasty Brain, like, it's affordable to 3D print your own. The Tasty Brain Trend says, yeah, Parabellum's taking votes on who's the 8th faction going to be. Plus, they have a lot more factions they plan to release in the future. I think it was just announced today, mate. I forget what it was now. I'm sure it was. Let me just have a look, because I might have liked the comment on Twitter today when I saw it announced. Let me have a little look, because I think they confirmed it. Let's have a little look. Tweets and replies, or likes, it'll be under. Yeah, the next faction is going to be the Sorcerer Kings. So there you go. That's what the new one's going to be, the Sorcerer Kings. Which, yeah, AMC's just seen it. Yeah, announced the Sorcerer Kings. Yeah, I just saw that today. So I think what we'll do is we will kick off and we will start and have a look at some of the January submissions. So let's start with, let's go to here. We're going to start with Adam Wozniacki. And remember the January challenge, the title for this month, or the theme for this month, was It Begins. Make of that what you will. So, let's have a little look here as well, because I think I've got the emails up as well, so I can have a look and see what everybody's been saying as well. So, Adam was saying, yeah, for So It Begins, I thought I'd begin with the villains from Hellboy. So he's been painting up the villains from the Hellboy box. Just take that off. So these are the frogmen, looking very nice, mate. Done a good job on them. I like the way you've done on the skin there as well, with a kind of a little bit of highlighting as well along the lumpiness, for want of a better phrase. I've actually painted these for my Hellboy game as well, so it's quite monotonous just working way through them. This is the kind of like the boss monster type thing, the frog monster. Very nicely done. Nice work on the tongue as well. The kind of the texture to it. This is the kind of I forget what it's called, but like the sort of squid thing, wherever it is, tentacles bursting through the floor. And again, nice work on the colours and stuff as well. Really nice with a bit of a dry brush in there to the highlights of the, what they call the tentacle. Are they called suckers? That's what I want to say. The little suction cup type things. I don't know if they've got an official name, but that's what I'm going to call them. Rasputin as well. Very nice work on there, mate. Nice work picking out the pentagram stuff on the chest. And even picking out the eyebrows as well. Good work on that, mate. I'm not sure I had the patience for picking out the eyebrows. But yeah, really nice work, mate. Love those. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Mr. Ben Mitchell. Let me see Ben's email. Of course, they're not all in order on my email list. And he says, "New year, new challenge, and so it begins. This is the start of my Kings of War Night Stalkers army. I managed to complete these 3 units for the month." So, I like these, Ben. I like the kind of, there's a real kind of cleanness to them. Do you know what I mean? Like a nice smooth kind of paint job. Love the orange on the pumpkin heads. Yeah, and skin tone's really good as well on those scarecrows. Love the bases, mate. Really stand out, that purple. And then we've got the, is it the Butchers, I think these guys are called. And I love that kind of like pink to purple transition as well. I tell you what, you won't miss these on the board. I love them. They're proper like nightmares, aren't they? Love them, mate. Really nice. And then next up we've got, is it Mind? I think it's called a Mind Screech or something like that. Really, really love the colour choice. The green with the pink looks fantastic. Really like the way you've picked out those teeth as well. You can see there it's kind of like pinky around the edges and the kind of the highlight to it. And the eyes look really good too. And the kind of carapace type stuff there. Very, very nice work indeed, mate. And there they all as the family shot. Nice work, mate. Love those. And I really, really like the colour choices. Beautiful work, Ben. Thanks very much for entering, mate. Next up, we have Mr. Colin Beale. Let's find Colin's email here as well. Here we go. And Colin, he said his hobby challenge for this year is to paint up one of his board games. So he started with Star Saga. Not done the best job on these doors, but for tabletop standard, they'll do, and I can revisit them later. Never complain about that kind of stuff, mate. Any paint is better than no paint at all, mate. Nice work on the little control panels there as well. I love the way you've picked those out. Nice colour choices as well with the red, orange, and yellow. Suitably sci-fi, mate. Suitably sci-fi. And then the backs of them as well. Very nice colour choices, mate. I'd be proud to play on any Star Saga game that had these on the board, mate. So yeah, nice work. Well done completing January's challenge. And thank you very much for taking part. Next up, Mr. Gary Jensen. Let's have a look at Gary's email and see what Mr. Jensen's been saying. If I can find it, there it is. So he says, "Well, this is all new to me, Andy." He said, "A year ago, I woke up and decided I wanted to paint a dragon. No idea why. Here we are a year later, and I paint almost every day. I love this hobby and would never have found it without you and your fellow YouTubers. Thanks for the effort and the encouragement." You are very welcome, mate, and thank you for the kind words. These are some side characters for Necromunda, a few Ogrons and other brutes, along with a bounty hunter and a few hive scum. Nice, mate. I love these. Nice colour choices. Love the greens and the kind of the verdigris as well in the bases. Nice little kind of evil croc there as well. Nice stuff, mate. I like the Ogren. We've got another shot of them from the back there as well. Nice work here, highlighting as well on the cloth for the cape or the wrap there. Yeah, I do like those bases, mate. Some nice colour choices to the bases. Nice work on the skin tones there as well, picking out the highlights, picking out the edges of the feathers. Yeah, I do like the croc skin as well, mate. Very, very nicely done. Lovely work, mate. Thank you very much, Gary. Thanks for taking part, and thank you for entering again this month. Mr. Jez Hunt. Jez has been working overboard this month. He sent me a few emails, I think. That was the one of them. Where's the other one? Here we go. He says he's had a chance to get on with some things. He said he painted the Celtic warriors of the Earth tribes from Slain game. Lots of fun painting them, especially the Woad war paint. He made 4 Celtic roundhouses too. They're made out of foam board, XPS foam, with thatching made from strips of towels soaked in PVA. Nice one. I tell you what, that is an awesome way to make those things. Really like that, mate. Very, very nice work. The excuse me, the grass, the flocking around the edges is especially nice as well. I just showing off now with the close-ups. I love them, mate. Nice texture as well to the side of those. And I like them on the roof as well. Just kind of looks like it's starting to kind of get a little bit overgrown. These leaves are nice as well. I don't know where they're from. But yeah, beautiful work, mate. Beautiful work. Really, really nice. And these are the dudes from Slain as well. With the war paint on. Really nice, man. Love them. Nice together as a little band as well. Little naked dude running about at the back there. Very nice. Good work on the face paint as well, and the kind of like sort of body paint. Looks really cool, man. I think it's copied some of these across twice as well, actually. Nice work on the kilts. Love the little tufts as well, just setting the bases off. Yeah, they look like a very suitable motley crew there together as well. Really nice, dude. Yeah, some fantastic work there, and those little huts look super special as well. Nice work, mate. Love them. Again, thank you for taking part. And yeah, they look awesome. Next up, we have Mr. John Jack. And John Jack, if I can find his email, I think he was one of the first entries this month. And John says, attached is his big pile of Astevian marionettes from the battle box. There's the singles and then the big horde. Keep up the brilliant work. Thank you very much, John Jack. Appreciate that, mate. So yeah, this is his marionettes. Yellow, not a fun colour to paint, I'll be perfectly honest, but he's done a cracking job of these. Love the little kind of, I don't know what you'd call them, the kind of, I would say like a gem, but you know what I mean, like the little kind of electronic face type thing, whatever the hell it is. Yeah, look awesome, mate. And nice is a big crew there as well. And you can see them in a little bit more detail as well. Lovely work on the yellow, mate. Love the little bits of kind of sort of picking out the shading as well. Looks very nice. Nice colour choice as well. Don't often see them yellow. So yeah, nice work, John Jack. Very nice, mate. Thank you for entering again. Marcus Schneider is up next. Let's have a look at Mr. Schneider's email if I can find it. Here we go. He said he's got some Gene Stealers painted for Space Hulk. With some kill team terrain. Very nice, mate. Gene Stealers getting ready to pounce there. Nice in the purple. Suitably menacing as well. Nice work on the kind of the shading as well. Pick them out lovely. Terrain looks good as well. Love the little kind of like brassy sort of nuts and bolts to it as well. And these little splash of colour there. Looks really nice, mate. Yeah. Nice work. I've still got my Space Hulk in the box. I don't even think I've ever painted any of the minis from that. One day maybe. Who knows? Thank you, Marcus. Again, thanks for entering. Next up, Mr. Rob Green. I like these ones when I saw them. So Rob, if I can find his email, said, so he said, the minis are from Flamme Rouge, the best racing board game on the market in my opinion. He said, I've meant to paint the basic plastic mini grey primer plus liberal splashing of acrylic plus flesh wash bases, super glue plus sodium bicarbonate to give them some texture. He said he's had Flamme Rouge for years. I think it's by far and away the best racing game, and it uses a 15 card deck which you gradually exhaust so all similar figures have the same cards. Nice one, mate. So these are the original minis here, and here they are looking suitably cool in the game, all painted up. Very much Tour de France. I love the different jerseys as well. Done an awesome job on them, mate. I really like them. And here we can see them ranked up a little bit with the different coloured jerseys. Really nice. And a lot of people don't bother with board game miniatures and stuff, but this is a reason why you should definitely kind of go the extra mile. Look how nice that looks. You definitely want to play that game, wouldn't you? So yeah, Rob, awesome work, mate. I really love those. And nice to see some board game stuff as well. Next up, Stephen Hallowich. Let's have a look at yours, matey boy. There we go. And Steve says, it has begun. I finally got birds and badges, and I simply fell in love with the minis. These are all from the 2 starter warbands they offer. They were an absolute joy to paint. So Steve, they are Type 40 TARDIS in the chat for those of you that are in there as well. So this is obviously one of the snakes. Lovely work on the scales and stuff, mate, with the 2 tones to that as well. Lovely on the basin too. The rabbit there as well. Love the bases with the bits of flowers in. Nice picking out the colours, the little pink nose there as well. And the blue and red really do make it pop as well. Love that, mate. Got the little archer. Really nice. Well, even just picking out the inside, the ears and the little claws there. Beautiful work, mate. Really nice. This is the little, I think this is like the little mouse thief type thing, isn't it? With the sack over the shoulder. Again, nice work on the basin. Picking out the eye there, looks lush. Little mouse knight type thing with the sword and the shield. Awesome work, mate. Really nice. You can see it there from the back as well. Wish that would disappear. Yeah, nice way of picking out the heraldry on the shield. Yeah, beautiful work, mate. If you're into these kind of animal type miniatures, these anthropomorphic animals, there's no better game than Birds and Badges for that kind of stuff. Little looks like a little mouse nun type thing. Really nice. Nice how you've picked out the sort of between the pages on the books as well, mate. It's not easy to do. Yeah, nicely done, man. Like a crow, I think this one is. Nice work, buddy. Nice work. Yeah, they're awesome, mate. Well done, Type 40 TARDIS. And then last for this batch, we've got Zingbo Chris here. And Zingbo, if I can find him, there he is. He says these are your submissions for the January challenge. For its beginning theme, I've painted up some models for 2 games I've not played before, which I hope to try out soon. So here are 2 Underworld warbands, the Grimrax Loon Court and the Sons of Velmorn, plus 2 fleets, Scourge, I should say, and UCM for Drop Fleet Commander. It's been quite a productive month by my standards. It bloody has, mate. These look awesome. Beautiful work on these. Absolutely love the kind of the work you've done on them. Picking out the details there as well. Little bits around the lips there. Beautiful painting, mate, as always. And these look gorgeous. Really, really nice work, mate. Nice colour choice as well. That beige really does pop against that kind of like the creamy beige really pops against the green skin tones as well. These are the Scourge minis. I'm assuming is this some kind of colour shift paint? Could be, because it's definitely metallic-y looking, but it looks beautiful, mate. Really suits those models for sure. I like those, mate. Nice work. We've got the other warband as well. I like these, mate. I do like GW skeleton models, I'll be honest. And these are really nice. Nice work, man. And the red really pops as well with the silver. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. And then these are the UCM as well. And again, nice work. Patience of a Saint, picking out all the little kind of glowing windows there as well. But yeah, the blue and yellow really does look good, and I love the highlights on the yellows as well. Just see around the edge there. Yeah, it looks awesome, mate. So well done. Nice work indeed, mate. Nice work indeed. So that's half of them through. We'll come to the other half later on in the show. Let me just get my chat back up, and I'm sure everybody's been having a good chat through there. Let's have a little look through. Yeah, everybody having a good old bit of a natter there as well. Who else we've got as well? Matt said, I did like the polka dots. I must admit, I'm assuming on the cycle and stuff. So don't see many polka dots on Space Marine chapters. I might need to rectify that. You are right, mate. You don't see that very much. Krabby, hello, mate. How you doing? She's never understood Burrs and Badgers. Doesn't appeal to me, but the minis do look cool. Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. I'm not massively into the animal stuff either, I'll be honest. I can appreciate they're good models. I like that they're nicely made and stuff. But they don't scream out to me like sort of something I'm like must buy kind of thing. Yeah, RG saying, yeah, this looks so clean. I do love the lighter tones as well compared to the usual blacks you see on these minis. I think that's from the little the Goblin Warband thing, isn't it? Yeah, really nice, mate. Wolverine saying, what game is that? Yeah, Drop Fleet Commander it was for, mate. Those ships, really nice. Wayne saying, great job all, yeah. And Zingbo says, the Scourge ships were painted up in silver than GW washers. It looked a little bit like those kind of colour shift stuff, mate. But yeah, it looked beautiful. It really made them look metallic-y anyway. So job done, mate. Whatever you intended to do, it was definitely that. Wolverine says, I can't wait to move back to the UK and I can play more games. I'm sure you can play games where you are, mate, but maybe in the UK you might be closer to play folks who play. Type 40 Tartar saying, I played the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle RPG as a kid. The Burrs and Badgers is like a trip back in time. I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as far as kind of like anthropomorphic stuff go, but I don't know what it is about the Burrs and Badgers thing. It reminds me of Wind in the Willows, and the Wind in the Willows used to bore the life out of me when I was a kid. So maybe it's that. You are very welcome, Zingbo. They look awesome, mate. Yeah, so yeah, no worries about the kind words. So yeah, how are we doing, folks? How are we doing? I think what we'll do is, we'll crack on as well, because how we're doing for time, 20 to 10. Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll crack on. James says, if only you had some kind of turtle man in your D&D adventures. If only, mate, if only. Yes, what we'll do is I'll switch across to here, set that away recording, and we'll chat about tonight's main topic. So tonight, folks, I want to chat about games that are absolutely free to play, and specifically 5 games that would be an alternative to Warhammer. We spoke briefly last week about how Warhammer was getting a bit more expensive, and I said in my controversial video how I thought it wasn't as expensive as all that, and I think a lot of people get caught up in they have to buy everything. However, one thing I would sort of agree with is that the rules for Warhammer do get expensive. There's constantly changing the expansions. Every year there's a new book comes out with all of the points cost in. And there's lots and lots of codexes to buy. And if people are competitive and want to know what other armies do, they end up having to buy other codexes too. So the rules can be very expensive. And actually, there are quite a lot of games out there that are absolutely free to play. You don't have to pay for the rules. You don't have to pay for the stats. They also give you lots of other things as well. So I want to talk about 5 of those games tonight. And the first one that we're going to chat about, folks, let me get my screen ready to go here. The first one we're going to chat about is Malifaux from Weird Games. Now, if you go to the Weird Games website and you click on Malifaux, it will take you to this page here. And what you will find is, as you scroll down, it will give you the resources section here. And if you click on the game cards, this will give you all of the stats for every single miniature that is in the game. So as you can see here, we can have a look at the Arcanists. We can have a look at the stat cards. Let's just click on one of them just to show you. And here we have the Banasuva. It has the front of the card and the back of the card. It tells you here what size base that the miniature is on, and it gives you all of the rules and all of the stats for that particular model. Now, it has, as I say, it has all of them for every single faction here. It has any errata and any of that kind of stuff as well. So all of the stats are absolutely free to be able to have a look at them for this game. So it doesn't matter whether it's a faction you play or it's a faction that your opponent's playing, or maybe it's something that you're interested in but you want to see what their stats are like or their rules are like before you buy into them. They're all absolutely free. The rules manual as well is also absolutely free. You click on that, it's in multiple different languages. If we click on the English one here, it'll download the rule book, and all of the rules are here to read through. There's nothing that's missing. It literally has, as we can see here in the table of contents, it has everything that's in there. It tells you all about the components. It tells you about measuring and line of sight. It tells you about the gameplay. It gives you about terrain. It tells you about the encounters. It gives you the different strategies, and it gives you the different schemes, which are essentially your scenarios for the games. So everything is in here. There's nothing hidden away. There's nothing behind a paywall. There's nothing to kind of have to sort of buy the rule book for. You can buy the rule book, and I personally have, because I love the artwork for Malifaux, and I also love all of the background lore. This free rules here doesn't give you any of the background stories, but in order to play the game, everything else is in this free rule book. Now, if we go back again, it also tells you here as well about the Gaining Grounds. Now, Gaining Grounds is their kind of tournament documentation or their organized play stuff. And again, in here, if we click on this, it gives you all of the organized play stuff. So if you're thinking of turning up to a tournament, or you just want to play more kind of competitive type games with your friends, it tells you everything in here as well. And last but not least, there is a crew builder app. Now, this again is absolutely free. You don't have to pay for the app. There's no subscription model to it. Inside this app, it gives you all of the game cards. So when I showed you all the model stats, they're all inside the app. You can build your crews on here, and it will tell you whether it's a legal crew or not, up to the points cost that you want to play at. It also gives the rules are in this app as well, with a rules reference as well. So it's really easy to find the specific rule that you're looking for. And it also gives you some like news updates as well, information that's coming out about Malifaux. It also gives you some audio stories as well from the Breachside broadcast stuff. And there's also some ways to track in-game things as well. And there's network play as well, so you can actually connect with other players as well, and be able to see what other players are, sort of what their sort of damage is and that kind of stuff. And this is absolutely free. There is not one thing that you need to pay for to be able to play this game. And even when it comes to actually sort of playing the game itself, and maybe you're saying, well, I've got no miniatures, I'd have to buy them. Line of sight in this game is based upon the base of the model. So if you really just wanted to try this game out for free, everything from a rules perspective is online. You can build your list, you can see the stats. Even as I showed you before, the stats show you what base size each model comes with. You could literally just use bases, because like I say, a line of sight is from base to base. So even if you wanted to use tokens, just to kind of try the game out, or you want to proxy your own minis, everything is here, 100% absolutely free to play. So as we said before, with things like Warhammer, you've got to pay for the rules, you've got to pay for the points updates, you've got to pay for the army builders, you've got to pay for the codex, you've got to pay for the expansions. None of that is applicable here. Everything is free on their website and in the app. Now, the second one that I want to talk about is Infinity by Corvus Belli. And again, a lot of the things that we've just said for Malifaux apply here as well. If you go to the infinitytheuniverse.com, you will come up here where it tells you about the different games. But if you go to the download section and go to resources, you will find on this page there is the Infinity plus the Infinity Code 1. All of the rules and stuff are here. So again, let's have a look at Infinity Code 1 for brevity. Code 1 rules, we click on that, and once they've downloaded, we've got the rules there as well for the game. And as we scroll down, you can see here it is absolutely chock-a-block full all the way through, all 99 pages. This is the official rule manual. All of the rules are in here. all of the weapons that you can take, all of the stats for all of the different models, all of the different rules on how to move, how to climb, how to shoot, how to go into close combat. Every single thing is in here. There is even some background information as well about the different factions, sort of to give you some background lore as well. So there's quite a bit of stuff in there. There's some introduction stuff to give you some sort of background on how to easily play the game. So from a rules perspective, everything's there. From a Code 1 army, there is also an army builder as well. So if you click through to here, let's say we want to play Pano. We click on that. And then again, there is an online army builder here where we can put in how many points we're going to use. You can pick your different models and it will give you all of the stats in here as well. And once you've built your army out, as you can see here, it tells you all the different information. So if we want to pick a Fusilier with a combi rifle, we can click that and you can see it's popped across to here. And this is how you will build up your armies. And again, absolutely free. There is an app as well that you can download that has all of this in the app as well. Let's just scroll back. There's a quick start rules section as well. Here you can see the Infinity Army for iOS and the Infinity Army app for Android, so you can download them. And again, there's exactly the same things for Infinity as well. So again, rules absolutely free. Stats for all of the models absolutely free. Army builder absolutely free. App to enable you to be able to kind of do all this on your phone or on your tablet. Again, absolutely free. And again, when it comes to line of sight, you kind of go from base to base again within like a cylinder size. So they're like kind of like a sort of a cylinder size for each base. So you can use your own models. You can use just tokens if you wanted to try it out. You don't even have to buy the official models to kind of to give the game a try, because it's not like you're saying, well, line of sight is to this piece poking out and you're not like sort of modeling for advantage kind of thing or any of that stuff. Everything is about base size. So yeah, again, another game where the company gives you everything there is for free. None of the rules need to be bought. Again, there are hardback rule books, or for Infinity Code 1, there's a softback rule book that you can buy. And again, there's lots of background lore and beautiful art in them, but they're not necessary to be able to play the game. And a lot of people, even if they buy those books, will quite happily just use the rules on like an iPad or on their phone when they're playing the games. Now, the third one I want to touch on is Moonstone by Goblin King Games. This is a little bit different to the other games. It's a smaller kind of sort of skirmish game. It doesn't need a lot of models. You can sometimes get away with 4 or 5 models on these. The other games, again, maybe a little bit more, maybe up to 10 or 15 models. But this one is, you don't necessarily need a lot of models for this game. So perfect for something for kind of sort of giving it a try out if you're just sort of new to wargaming. But again, if you go to moonstonethegame.com and you go to resources and you go to downloads, what you will find is that anyone can start playing Moonstone absolutely free. So again, Moonstone basic rules. So it says basic rules, but all of the rules are here. So again, if you click on that, it will download the rule book. And as you can see, it plays on a 3x3 playing surface, 3 to 6 miniatures for each player. It says that you need the character cards, you need the arcane deck, a melee deck, and some energy tokens. Now, if we go back here, the custom card decks that you need, you can actually download from here as well and just print them off. Or I'm sure you'll be able to take them into work or something like that. Print them on the printer at work if you don't have one. So this is the specific deck that you need for to play the game, but they are there available free to download. Character stat cards. So again, you need the stat cards for each individual model. And again, they're all free here online. You can just use them digitally, or you can print them off and kind of and sleeve them or whatever you want to do. But all of the stats for all of the models are here available for you to see online. So if you're thinking of buying the game, or you're thinking of buying a new model and you already play the game, you can check out the stats and see what those models do without spending any money on a book. Now, also as well, what comes with Moonstone is it comes with character paper standees. So if we were saying before about other models, it's line of sight from tokens, from the bases as well. So you could just use tokens. Here, they even give you little paper dolls as well. So you can print these out, cut them out, stick them on a base, and use these as well to proxy in the game. So if you're just wanting to give the game a try, they even have little kind of cardboard standees that you can use as well, which I think is a nice little touch as well from Goblin King Games. There isn't a list builder in this app, so there's no army builder. However, the game is super simple. You don't actually have any points costs in this game. So basically, you just choose the 4 models that you want or the 5 models that you want, and your opponent chooses the 5 models that they want, and the game is balanced within the fact that all of the models are kind of balanced internally. There are some scenarios here as well that they've put on. There's an organized play document, and the game's available in French and German as well. So again, if you go to that website, go to the resources, go to downloads, all of the information you need to play is here. Even the custom card deck that you need, and there's even those paper standees as well. So fantastic if somebody wants to try out a new game a little bit different. The fourth one that I want to talk about is a bit of a bigger scale game, and it's one that we talked about very briefly tonight earlier, and it is Conquest by Parabellum. This is a rank and flank game, so a much bigger scale. Think Warhammer Fantasy or Kings of War, along that scale kind of thing. But again, they give everything away for free. So you can go to parabellum.com, and you will see here, you can click on either the game, and they have Conquest, which is the rank and flank game, or Conquest First Blood, which is a skirmish version using the same miniatures, but they have the assembly instructions for the models, they have the rules, and they have an army builder. You can see here as well, you also have them along the top of the website. So if you click on the rules and FAQ, we're going to be looking at the Last Argument of Kings, which is their big rank and flank game. You click on core rules, there's a quick start guide, there's a scenario pack in French, and there's also the core rules as well. So if we click on the core rules, we can download that. And here we are once it opens up, because it's a little bit more of a bigger file. We have the Conquest version 2 as well, which just come out in the last week. The Last Argument of Kings Rules of Engagement. And here as we go through, you can see that all of the rules are there, and it's split down into different chapters. And it tells you all about character profiles, it tells you about magic, it tells you about terrain, and it tells you about fighting a battle as well, and gives you there the 4 scenarios as well to be able to kind of fight over: head-to-head, breakthrough, maelstrom, and pincer attack. And as you can see, as we go through, there's some nice art in there as well. It's not like it's just text only, and then it gives you a little bit of information there as well for the rules. So the rules are available there. If we go to the army lists, these are the 7 armies that are available for Conquest. We have the Wadron, the Spires, the Old Dominion, the Nords, the 100 Kingdoms, the Dweghorn, and the City States. And again, if you just click on them, it will give you all of the information that you need for how to build an army for that particular faction. And as we scroll through, it tells you about how to do it. And then as we go a bit further, it starts to give you all of the stats as well, and all of the different abilities. So here we've got the Eidolon. It gives you this stat line, tells you all about them, tells you all the different options as well. It tells you about the different war bands. So you can see that all of the stats, again, if you're thinking of getting into the game, or you want to see what your opponent's army is all about, all of the stat lines, all of the information, what they can do, what the range of firing is, all that kind of stuff is free to be freely available as well, and free for you to see. And then also as well, there is, if we can go back, here. We go back as well to the web page. There is an army builder. So again, online we go to Conquest. You can sort of browse for faction. You can prepare for war, and scan card as well. The cards now have QR codes on them, so that the cards aren't printed with all of the stats on. They have a QR code, so you can scan them, and then basically it shows you the latest version of the rules. But here, if we just go to sort of browse factions, let's pick the 100 Kingdoms because they're the first one there. There's an army builder here as well, where you can go in and select the army and the regiments and the monsters and stuff that you want to build for your army. So again, unlike some other games, free rules, free stats available for army lists, and a free army builder as well. And again, as we mentioned before, like some of the other games, line of sight is all about measuring from the base size, and the base size is fixed depending upon the size of the how many stands it's called, sort of how many models you have in a regiment. So again, you could just use bits of cardboard cut out into the right sizes if you wanted to just give the game a try as well. Or you could use something, you could use something from Kings of War, or you could use something from Warhammer Fantasy if you wanted to, just to give the game a try. But everything is free, even the army builder, all of the army lists, and all of the stats. And the last one I wanted to talk about is Wild West Exodus from War Cradle Studios. Again, if you go to wildwestexodus.com and you go to resources, you go to rules, and here you will see the rules in multiple different languages. So here, if we click on the rules, again, it will download the full rule book. Everything is in here that you need. Tells you what version number it is. And then again, as you can see here, it's all the different phases of the game, how to do the actions, line of sight, using terrain, weapons. And then it also tells you some information as well about the different factions. So there is some lore and background in this. And it even tells you about some common adventures and some scenarios and deployment as well. So it gives you the scenarios. There are other games out there that have free rules, but they hold back all of the different scenarios to try and make you buy the rule book. This game doesn't. So yeah, all of the rules are there. There are the action cards and the adventure cards. So a little bit like Moonstone, the game does use a deck of cards as well. But again, they give you them absolutely free, where you can print them off and make your own decks. If you just want to give it a try, or you don't want to have to buy them, sort of, if you're just getting into it and you don't want to spend the money just yet, you can download these for free and print them off this way. And here are those Guts and Glory action adventure cards as well. So again, even the backs of them as well, if you want to print off both sides, which is awesome. Tokens and templates. So the game does have some tokens, and here again you can print those tokens off and use them. And here are the templates as well for measuring out things like sort of fire templates or blast and torrent templates. So even if you can buy the obviously nice acrylic versions of these, but again, if you just want to try it for free, everything is free on the website. They even have some nice little things like terrain posters. So some little thematic posters if you want to print them off and stick them to terrain, which I thought was a really nice touch as well on the website. And then when it comes to stats, if you click on the top here where it says factions, let's pick the Enlightened because they're the first one. You click on there and you come here, you can see there's background about them. There's some wallpapers that you can use for your laptop and stuff like that. There's assembly guides for the miniatures. There's unit cards as well, or there's just an all cards option. If I click on all cards, this is basically a printable version, and it shows you all of the different stat cards for all of the different models. So again, no matter what faction you play, no matter what faction your opponent plays, you can have a look for absolutely free and see exactly what each model does. And if you wanted to, I've just clicked on the wrong one there. I've deleted it off now. If you wanted to, you can actually sort of go in and pick out individual models as well if you go to the unit cards. So those are the 5 games that I wanted to show you. Oops, let me go back here. So those are the 5 games that I wanted to show you. There are other games available as well that I would suggest claim to have free rules. And a couple of those I just wanted to show you. So one-page rules is one that everybody talks about and says, oh, these have free rules. I'll try one-page rules. The reason I haven't included it tonight is that one-page rules does have some free rules. If you go to the rule books, you can download the rules. However, if you see here as well, there is a way you can support one-page rules, and you can pay for some content, which is the full rule book. And included in the full rule book is extra stuff that is not in the free rule book online. Now, the games I've just shown you all have everything in the rule book. There isn't anything hidden away. So whilst technically you can still just play one-page rules, the Grimdark Future game, with the free rules, there are extra rules and there are extra stuff that is tucked away inside, like kind of behind a paywall, if you like. So the army books are all here as well. You can all download them. And there was something recent, there was something I saw earlier, which basically told you what was in the paid for version. I forget where I saw that now, but yeah, there's extra stuff in the paid for version. I think I've got a feeling off the top of my head as well, and I could be wrong on this, but I think the army, the list builder, is behind the Patreon as well. Another one that I think people always think about with free games as well and free rules is Mantic stuff. However, again, some of that is now hidden away behind paid for stuff. So, for example, if we go to the Mantic Companion, which is where all of their digital rules and stuff are now, let's have a look at Kings of War. And there is the army list builder, which you can use, and you can build your army lists. There is the Kings of War rules, which are all available online. However, anything with a little star beside it here, like not an asterisk, but like a little star, all of these things are behind the paywall of the monthly subscription for the Mantic Companion. So things like here about army composition, things like formations, like picking a force, magical artifacts, things like all of the scenarios, all of the things for the siege rules, the legendary rules, they are all available if you pay the monthly subscription. So can you play the game without them? Yes, probably, but it is not the full kind of chunk of rules. So that's the reason I haven't included them. So yeah, so there's plenty of other games out there that are technically free and you can kind of access the free rules. But the 5 that I've shown you tonight are absolutely 100% free. You don't have to buy the rules, but you can do. But yeah, absolutely free to give a game to. If there's any games you think I've missed, or there's anything that you think is also free and you'd like to let other people know about it, let me know it down in the comments and we'll make sure everybody gets to know about them. So folks, those are all of the free games. Let's have a little look here. And Ed's saying there as well, I think you're being a bit harsh saying the optional rules rule it out as a free game. I'm just comparing it, mate, to all of the games that where everything is 100% free. Everything is free. There's nothing hidden away behind paid for stuff. So that it's not just optional rules. There are, well, every game's got optional rules. You could say that about Warhammer, couldn't you? And say, well, it's optional rules. The free stuff's online kind of thing. All I'm saying is that the 5 games that I picked tonight, everything is free. The army builders are free. All of the lists are free. All of the rules are free. Cheese Me saying companies do need a little money. They do, mate, but they sell miniatures. All of those companies sell miniatures. I'm not denying anybody makes any money. I'm just saying that there are options out there that are absolutely free, and those companies want you to try the games, and hopefully you'll buy their miniatures. Skullduggery saying expect to see one-page rules. Yeah, everybody's saying what about one-page rules? One-page rules, and Tom saying no one-page rules. Exactly the reason I said. It was my kind of criteria. Those were the reasons that I gave. I still showed it as an extra, and I'm still saying that the rules are free. However, not all of the rules are free, and that's the reason I didn't include it. Scott Latham saying I got Moonstone and Wild West Exodus great sculpts too. They are both great sculpts, mate. Yeah. And Jess is saying they all look great. It's amazing what's out there for free. Yeah, it is. It just goes to show not every company sell their games the same way. I'm not kind of putting a slight on one-page rules. They sell the STLs. They sell the sort of, they're trying to get people to be Patreons in order to support the growth of the game and to support the sculptors to do the miniatures. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying that technically not all of the rules are free there. Wolverine's saying I'm saying that I like physical stuff because you actually talk people when you're playing, and it's a break from always staring at a screen. I think it's talking about something else as well. Cheese says, "Oh, you should buy something from those companies if you like the rules or models." Yeah, absolutely, mate. The idea is that basically they want you to try their games out. They don't want any barriers to you trying the game for size, kind of thing. And the idea is, if you like the game, then you go out and you buy miniatures for them games, or maybe you buy the rule book because you want to find out the background stories and stuff. Rob saying the free rule book is the full rules. The paid rules are extra rules that a lot of players do not play with. Most one-page rules players play with just the free rules. That's fair enough, mate. If that's the case, that's the case. But there are rules hidden away that you have to pay for. Like, whether they're optional, whether you choose to use them or not is entirely up to you. Just the other games that I showed didn't have that. All of their rules were available. Sean Cook saying War Surge also worth a try. Great game, but still a work in progress. It's not a game I've heard of, mate. Ed saying the list builder is completely free for one-page rules. There you go, mate. I always thought it was tucked away kind of as part of the Patreon thing. If it's free, mate. And Rob saying, in honesty, one-page rules is actually free for all the things you need to play. Paid stuff is tailored extra. I get that, mate, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. However, there are rules, be them optional or not, are hidden away that are not free. But like I say, it doesn't matter whether you use them or not. There's rules that are hidden away that are not free. The other games didn't have that. That's why they're the 5 I chose. I'm not saying it's not free to play. I'm not saying you can't play it. I'm not telling people that it's a con or anything. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that not all of the rules, be they optional or not, are free. Just says, I was disappointed when this came out with paywall. Oh well. Which I don't know which one you're talking about there, mate. Matt says, I'm trying to remember if Full Thrust has gone totally free to play. I don't know what Full Thrust is, mate, to be fair. Wolverine says, wait, there's a Hellboy game. You've just seen somebody painting the miniatures tonight, mate. Did you not see the frog monsters from in the painting stuff? Yeah, definitely. Nunky Munt. Hello, mate. How you doing? This is Love Infinity. Started with the system a few months ago and was so impressed with the app and PDF that I bought the N4 rules and law book, the Dead Tree version. The support, also they're lovely. Yeah, I must admit, I do like them, mate. 10 sketches. I like how you can switch from video persona to streamer persona. Very slick. It's not kind of it's not intentional, mate. It's just that I know that, as a prime example, last week I clipped out a couple of points from the live stream video last week, and they've done like about 4,000 views just from clipping them out. There's lots of people who don't want to watch the full video. They just want that kind of little core 10 minutes of information, if you like. And I've just learned over time that this is the best way to do it. It makes it much easier for me to be able to kind of like edit it down and put some extra graphics over it for a full video for the folks that don't watch the stream as well. And at least it still kind of gets my point across on the stream as well. Ed says, by that standard, Star Wars Legion is a free game. It's not though, mate, because in order to play it, you need the stat cards that come with the models. And AMG, or Fantasy Flight as it was before, don't provide all of those stat cards online. It's the same with Marvel Crisis Protocol as well. You might get access to the stat cards because people share them online, but you actually need those stat cards to be able to play the game, and they don't give them away for free. So it's not a free game when it comes to the stats. Because of Ben saying all the minis are free. No, the minis are not free. And Matt saying, yeah, true, people need to make a living, but the consumer should never be seen as a cloth to wring dry for every last penny. Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree with that as well. Cheese Me says the 8 pages of 40k and AOS are also free. The codexes and the stuff that matter aren't. You're right, but the 8 pages of rules are not the full rules. This is the same kind of argument I haven't. It might be that those 8 pages contain everything you need to play, but they don't have what's in the rule book, and there is more rules in the rule book than there is in those 8 pages getting started guide. Nin Fanboy says Bushido has free rules, rule books and stats for every mini are on their website. That's a good one, mate. I'm not familiar with Bushido, if I'm perfectly honest, so I don't know about that one. John Estel, good evening, mate. How you doing? He said, just in from a game of Grimdark, as close as I get to free. Nice game and nice to be here. I don't mind paying for quality. No, I'm a big believer in that as well. I think you should support companies who kind of put out product. I'm a big believer in kind of, if it's a company that basically only produces the rules, then of course they shouldn't be free. If it's like a mini agnostic game and they don't sell any miniatures, of course they should be able to sell their rules. That then becomes the product. The stuff I've been talking about tonight are essentially rules that are 100% free, because those companies, they want you to buy their miniatures, really. That's what they want. They want you to try the game for free. They don't want any barriers to you sort of getting into the game, because there are plenty of games out there that are expensive to pick up and get started with, because you have to pay for the rules. Before you've even bought any miniatures, you've already shelled out sort of like $40, $50 or 40 or 50 pounds on big rule books. So these companies want you to kind of be able to try their games, but of course they want to make some money by trying to sell miniatures. Now technically you don't need to, as I mentioned before. You could use tokens, you could proxy in any other miniatures you wanted to. However, that's their sales model. It's almost that kind of sort of the first one's free, and then basically if you like it, then you'll come back and you'll spend more money. Thanks, Skulldoggery. Yeah, totally fair. Rob says there's a system called Gang Fight, model agnostic, all universes skirmish gaming. Full 200-page rules are free with a paid hardcover book. I find that quite interesting, that if it's a company that basically, if all they make is the rules and it's miniature agnostic, they don't sell any miniatures. I find it strange that they would give the rules away for free. And I know some people will then go and say, well, I want to support the company. I want to give them the kind of, I want to give them some money for the rules. But I do find it strange that they give the rules away for free as a full game anyway. Jess is saying there, try this crack for free. Sorry, I'm in game, try it for free. Yeah, exactly, mate. Lord Novas, good evening, mate. He says, I find it hard not to buy something from the company after I try out their rules. I think if you enjoy the game, mate, yeah, that's absolutely 100%. I mean, what I would suggest is that, like, you know, that's the whole point. What they want is they want you to try these games. Like if for example, let's take Wild West Exodus, for example, because it was the last one I talked about. If it was $40 to buy their rule book, a lot of people probably wouldn't touch it, because it's just another one of those games in amongst all of the games that are out there. And why should I pay £40 or $40 for the rule book if I'm not that interested in it? However, if the rule book is free and it's available online just to go and have a look at, and you're interested in maybe like a Wild West or a futuristic Wild West game, then maybe you go and check it out. And then maybe you go, oh, actually the miniatures are really cool too. I might get a few minis for this and play the game. So I think there's a lot of reasons why companies do it. It's not for every company. Some companies rely upon the rules, that rules making money. It's just that's the ones I've been talking about tonight. Robson, I see your perspective on paywall. Fair enough. Yeah, and when I say paywall, it's not necessarily like, it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. All I mean is, if there is something the company produces in terms of the rules or product to enable you to play the game, like the stats, if they are either behind a monthly subscription or they're behind a second payment or something like that, then I don't class that as everything being available for free. The 5 games that I've showed tonight, everything is accessible for free. That was the difference, really. And Rob said, I said all that way before you finished that statement. Yeah, I'm just catching up with the chat, mate, to be fair. Jesse said, I got plenty of games I bought that I've not played yet. I get round to these free ones at some point. Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. Robin Mankiller, good evening to you, fella. How are you doing? Matt says, Full Thrust is a 90s combat game, space combat game. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, mate. Rob saying, the new background is very esports. Thanks, mate. Ed saying, stat cards are available in the free squad builders. I'm assuming this is, he's still talking about one-page rules, mate. Carrie, good evening. How you doing? Says, hope you're having an awesome Monday. Thank you. You too. James G says, Raven Feast was put out by Little Wars TV to try and get more folk into our hobby. No minis, nothing, totally free. Good little historical skirmish game. I think we see some of that stuff a little bit in historical games. There's a lot of kind of labours of love and things like that, or very, very low cost rules. And I think a lot of it is because you'd kind of have to be mad to get into producing World War II miniatures or historical miniatures these days, because there are so many companies out there already making them. Like, it's kind of hard to say that you're bringing anything new to the table. So I think when it comes to historical games, especially kind of historical anyway, there are a lot of companies out there who just produce rule sets. And obviously every now and again, there'll be somebody out there who produces just a completely free rule set just for the love of making a game. Let's have a little look here. Wolverine says, wargaming is like crack. You finish an army and then you start another and another and another. You can't stop. You don't buy an army before you don't wait to finish an army before you buy another one. That's madness. Rob says there are a ton of games on Game Vault that are full rules and free, or pay whatever you want. There will be, mate. There'll be a lot of others as well, and I'm never going to know all of them. The 5 that I talk about tonight were 5 that I'm familiar with, that's all. I'm sure that's, as I said at the end of the chat kind of thing. If there's some I've missed, if there's some that I'm not aware of, if there's some that you would recommend, kind of pop them in the chat and stuff like that, or pop them in the comments of the video. But I'm never going to know kind of all of those ones. Matt says, I look at Wild West Exodus and lump it in the same territory as Malifaux. In my mind, they're kind of interchangeable due to aesthetics. I kind of get that, mate. I think there's an element of people would think that Malifaux was kind of Western-esque. And I think a lot of people use kind of cowboy terrain and Western terrain when it comes to playing Malifaux as well. But once you get behind that kind of that idea, that they're very much different. James says, I've used my Saga minis for it. It's a good game. Not sure how many new players got into the hobby, but at least it was a positive move. Yeah, it's nice to see anybody doing anything positive, mate, isn't it? Oh, Ed's saying Legion. Sorry, all of the stack cards are in the Army Builder. Is the Army Builder something that AMG produce, or is it a third party thing, mate? Because I'm always a bit dubious about when it's third party stuff. Like, technically, that you can get all of the stats for Warhammer stuff from like kind of Easy Army and stuff, but technically it's copyrighted. Like, it's taking information out of GW's books, technically, isn't it? Matt says, being able to stand out full stop in the modern mini market is damned hard. So many good games end up sinking back under the waves just because they can't cling on long enough to develop a base. Very, very true, mate. Yeah, very true. I think it's quite a, like, for all it's a niche market as such, as we would call it, like, I wouldn't say it was like mainstream like video games. For all it's a niche market, there's a lot of companies out there trying their hand at it, and there's lots of different, like, if you think about like 3D printing, how that's exploded, the amount of different miniatures we can choose from now, the amount of people that are sculpting miniatures, the amount of options that gave people when it comes to writing rule sets, because they're not limited by the kind of people having to use the big boys and girls to take their miniatures. Like look at what one-page rules are doing. I think it's quite admirable what they're doing, of kind of like trying to fund the game in a different way and sort of paying sculptors every month to keep creating new stuff and keep adding to it. And it's something that started off as kind of sort of proxies for 40k is very quickly starting to become its own kind of thing, really. So I don't really mind that. Clyde saying use Asian terrain for Malifaux. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different aesthetics that you can use for Malifaux. You've obviously got the Victorian kind of thing. You've got the steampunk. You've got like, I mean, if you think about sort of the explorer society out there in the forests and the jungles of Malifaux kind of thing, you could even have like sort of forests and wood boards. There's the Western kind of theme, which is kind of like the frontier towns. And then there's the sci-fi fantasy type element as well, of just the fantastical stuff. Yeah, there's lots of different things that you can do, that kind of thing. Wolverine saying him and his friends binged on Star Trek, and now his mini war games heavily inspired by Star Trek. I wish there was a Star Trek game. I think there is Star Trek games, actually. I mean, Attack Wing used to be one of them, didn't it? Jazz Cat saying the Army Builder is third party, I think, for Legion and Marvel. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily include them if they're unofficial, purely because the company's not giving them things away for free, if you like. If somebody else has built a third party app and the information is free, then that's absolutely great. People get access to it. But the stuff I was kind of focusing on tonight were companies that were actively providing that information themselves. Ed saying, yeah, it's third party but sanctioned. And they've done that for years with X-Wing. Yeah, but I guess with X-Wing is another example, with like X-Wing as a prime example, is all of the cards that you need for all of the upgrades and everything else as well, like all of those the different bits and pieces, the different pilots, all of that information to be able to kind of put onto your stuff. Doug Cundall, good evening, mate. How are you doing? Very nice to see you. For those that don't know, Doug is one of the folks from Blackside Studios. I had the honor to interview him last week, and I've been finishing editing up that video today, so you'll see that going live tomorrow. So watch out for that one, folks. Welcome to the chat, Doug. Clyde says, if you get bored with Malifaux, you're not paying attention. I know exactly what you mean about that, mate. Cheese Me says there's a Star Trek RPG with minis, no skirmish game. There used to be an X-Wing kind of version. Yeah, Ed's just saying the same thing there, including Attack Wing. So basically there was the exact same rules as how X-Wing used to be, but with, instead of being Star Wars ships, it was Star Trek ships, and it was called Attack Wing. It just never really kind of took off in the same way. There was even a D&D version of it as well, and I forget what that was called, but it was like basically like kind of flying dragons fighting as well. The name escapes me at the minute, but yeah, that used the X-Wing rules as well. Let's have a little look here. Defective Dice is Malifaux hype. Whoop. Major Tom says Modifius doing an away team based skirmish game, if I recall. Away team? Oh, what's that, mate? Mark Watson says Starfleet battles oldest and best. I'm not aware of that one, mate. Tony says I always imagined Malifaux as a Streets of Victorian London style, just the way my imagination worked. It's one of the things that I do love about the lore and the background for Malifaux is you can kind of make it fit anything that you want it to fit. You can take it from that very kind of like western frontier town with the steam train coming through and kind of like sort of make it very western-esque. You can take the Victorian kind of horror of it with the streets of London type thing with the Victorian buildings and the narrow streets. You can take that as an example as well. You can also, like, especially with the things like the Ten Thunders faction, there's a very Asian feel to it as well, and a lot of kind of, so if you're into playing games for like a feudal Japan type thing with the big shrines and the big temples and stuff, it's another way you can take the game in that direction. You got the Arcanists, who are basically kind of like, you know, like the Steam Fitters Union. You can have it down in the sewers. You know, like there's so many different aspects and sort of visual appeals for the Malifaux world that I think lots of people think of it in lots of different ways. But I do get that. I think a lot of people instantly go because of models like the Death Marshals and Lady Justice, and a lot of the guild models are very kind of sort of Western inspired, if you like. You've got Perdita Ortega with the Ortega family, you know. But then don't forget, you've also got the like the Gremlins as well, living out in the bayou, and Zoraida from the Never, what are they called? Oh, the name escapes me now. Basically, the inhabitants of Malifaux. God, my mind went blank there. So yeah, lots of different aesthetics. Anyway, the D&D one was just called Attack Wing as well, was it? Maybe I was thinking Attack Wing, and I was thinking, oh, that's the Star Trek one. But yeah, I remember that now. I mean, I remember the game, But yeah, the name does ring a bell now. Tasty Brain Drain saying, yeah, sweet, looking forward to the interview. Really dig Luna. Yeah, to be honest, the game that I wanted to talk about is a new game that's kind of going up for pre-order tomorrow, which is Hametsu, and it's kind of like a 1 to 4 player cooperative sort of skirmish game set in a kind of alternate sort of history, feudal Japan, which is it's really got my creative juices flowing, and that was why I reached out to the folks at Blackside Studio to see if they'd be interested in kind of doing like a video call, an interview, just to really chat about it, because it's something that I'm really interested in. So yeah, it was a bit of a passion project video for me. It was. Take care, Coffee and Pistachios. Thanks for coming in. Never Born. That's what it was. I don't know why my mind went blank on that one. Invisible says, evening all. Hope you've had a good week. Just finished his cheesy beans on toast and he's settling down to some orc painting. There's worse ways to spend a night, mate, isn't there? Definitely. Wolverine says, I'm worried AMG is going to abandon MCP for Shatterpoint. No, I wouldn't have thought so, mate. I mean, MCP is going to have its lifespan. It's eventually going to kind of like sort of run its course and stuff like that. But it seems to be selling very well at the minute. It seems to be popular. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, mate. Yeah, Never Born. I don't know why that fell out of my head a little bit. Let's have a little look here. Welcome back, VJ. Nice to see you in, mate. How you doing? And Rob says, yeah, I'm looking forward to Hametsu as well. Looks cool. Like an Asian Night Watch by Patrick Todorov. I'm not familiar with that one, mate. But yeah, I'm a big fan of from what I've seen from Hametsu so far. Beautiful artwork. Beautiful setting. Rules seem relatively straightforward from what I've seen as well with the videos and that. And the chat I had with Doug as well last week, just kind of it just got my juices flowing as well. What sets it apart from Bushido? It's a co-op game, mate. First and foremost, that's the thing that sets it apart for me. It's not a skirmish game in the traditional sense of a versus type thing. It's 1 to 4 players, so you can play it solo. You can play it up to 4 players. It's got a very much kind of. It's got an RPG feel to it as well in terms of character creation and kind of sort of that sort of thing. But yeah, for me, that the co-op element is absolutely awesome. Yeah, Doug. Yeah, pleasure was all mine, mate. Jazz says co-op. That means solo. Well, yeah, it is solo, mate. So play it 1 to 4 players. But if you're playing with more than 1 player, sort of 2 to 4, then you play it co-op against the monsters, if you like. But yeah, watch out tomorrow. I'll have the full interview with myself and Doug, and that'll tell you all about Blackside Studios. It'll tell you much more about Hametsu as well, and then actually the game actually goes live tomorrow for you to be able to kind of to get your hands on it. VG says, is it co-op scenario based and more of a boss battler? So it's kind of, there's you can play it as one-off games if you like, like you can play them as individual games, or you can play it as a campaign as well, mate. And Doug's saying there, yeah, scenario built really for narrative campaigns. Thanks, Doug. Right, what we'll do is, while we're VG says, are Blackside the ones that did Don't Look Back? Yes, Blackside are the ones that did Don't Look Back. They've done Don't Look Back, they've done Luna, they've done Yafsiga, I forget the other names now. My mind's gone blank, but there you go. Right, what we'll do is, while we're getting towards the end of the stream, we will come up with, if I can find it, the rest of the January submissions for the painting challenge. So let's go back across to here, and we'll start with Blair Smith. You find Blair's email here as well, so we can see. There we go. So Blair said, my entry for January challenge is these 3 stars from Rumble Slam, which is new to me. So we have Gravedigger and the Dragon Brawlers tag team. A lot more flesh than I've done before. So this is what he's been painting this month for the challenge. I can't see where Gravedigger might have been inspired from at all. It's not the Undertaker at all, is it? Looks awesome, mate. Lovely colour choices as well with the gloves to kind of set it apart a little bit. And you've done a cracking job on the skin tones there, as mate, for somebody that wasn't overly keen on it. We've got the backs of them there as well. Let's bring them up. Nice highlighting as well on the capes there. And then you must have, did you submit another email as well with some extra stuff in? I bet you did, didn't you? Let's have a little look. Oh, maybe not. I don't know why, but we've got those extra pictures as well. These ones as well. Awesome work, mate, anyway. Nicely done. Nice basing as well. Thanks, Blair. Thanks for entering those. Ed. And Ed. Oops. He's got a nice Star Wars mini there. We've been talking about Legion as well. Let's just find Ed's email here. And Ed says, genuinely intended to just submit the first mini I finished this year, but as I'm aiming for a very ambitious new year, 2 new armies, and Obi-Wan is the first mini of that kind that felt rude not to. Really nice work, mate. I like what you've done with the symbol on the shoulder as well. The cracked base there looks awesome. White and cream's never an easy colour to do as well. So nice highlighting, and I like the kind of it's like panel line, I suppose you'd call it. And the saber looking awesome as well, mate. Beautiful work. And again, thank you very much for entering this month. Ian Floyd. Let's have a look and see what Ian Floyd says. Find his email. So Ian says, last year I struggled to find time to set aside for hobby with our working patterns and young family, so I thought I'd try something a little different. I've set aside a little space for 3 to 5 minis plus paints. If I have a spare minute, I nip and do a little bit. The idea being I have loads of mini sessions rather than try to find an hour or two set aside. It's a really good way to do it, mate. And then I get a reasonable finish relatively quickly. Managed to complete League of Infamy from Mantic this way, finishing each group of 3 or so minis within a few days. Thanks for the challenge to keep me motivated. You are very welcome, mate. And it's nice to see these. I don't think I've actually seen the minis from League of Infamy. When I played it, it was just like a prototype type thing, and we were just using any minis. So I never got to see the finished minis. But yeah, these look nice, mate. Some nice work there as well. The Ger Panther there as well. And these kind of... these are the baby dragons and things, I think, aren't they, from the game? Nice work, mate. And these are the heroes that you play as. Oh, sorry, you don't play as the heroes. These are the heroes you play against, I should say. Nice work, mate. And awesome to see you managing to get a little bit of painting time in as well. Thanks for completing the challenge. Yoakum. Let's see what Yoakum's been doing this month. So, Yoakum says, the year begins with a post-apocalypse game, Fallout Wasteland Warfare. He's a mix of super mutant survivors, one little alien, and an Institute cursor. Is it a cursor? 12 minis ready for some games. That's not bad beginning for the year. That's not bad, mate. That's a good start. These are looking particularly nice as well, mate. I like those. Nice choice of colours as well for that kind of sort of, what they call it, kind of like a raggy look to them, if you like. Nice mutants as well. Good work on the bases with a bit of tufts and stuff as well. Very nice. Nice terrain as well in the background, mate. I like that. I like that terrain as well. I don't really know Fallout Wasteland Warfare, so are these is this one of the survivors? Got no idea. No idea what the models are. But yeah, looking good nonetheless, mate. Like the work on the sort of lights and stuff. The electronics. Base looks good as well, buddy. I like that. Really nice. I'm assuming this is the alien. I do know what an alien looks like. Yeah, it looks nice. Nice work on the red as well, mate, against the white. Really does stand out. And I love the little white stripe down the front of the boots. Nice work on the glow for the gun too. Looking really good, mate. I'm assuming this is one of the survivors with the jumpsuit on there. I do recognise that bit from Fallout anyway. Love the green glow to the little wrist computer. Yeah, nice bases there as well, mate. Looking good. And a nice squad thing here as well for them. Awesome work, mate. Love these bases. Are these bases part of the game, mate, or did you do these yourself? I'm not sure if they come with the miniatures or if they're just something that you've done yourself. They look great, though. Well done, Yoakum, and thank you again for taking part. We've got Joseph Helgers, or Hilgers, I should say. And Joseph, if I can find his email, came in a bit later, I think, if I remember. There we go. Says he finally finished a model for the challenge. Only took me 6 months of tuning in. Started some AdMech for 40k. They always intimidated me in the past with the detail, and I'm not too interested in the game, but I'm happy with how this model turned out. Catch you in the stream. This is great work, mate. You shouldn't be too intimidated by this. You've done an awesome job of it. Nice work on the base. I like the metallics as well. The metallics come out really well. And the freehand around here as well. That's not easy to do, mate. So really well done. And I love the shading and the black and yellow on there. Really does pop as well. Beautiful work, mate. Really well done. And thanks for taking part. We've got Mugger T, Sarah Kiss. And Sarah Kiss says that this is my entry for the January painting challenge. This is the first half of my Battle Sister squad painted as Order of the Bloody Rose. I tried to get a bit different colour on their tabards and turned out like it way more than I thought, so it stuck. It turned out I like it way more than I thought, so it stuck. Look forward to seeing everyone else's submissions on the stream. Very nice work. I like the basing on these as well. But yeah, the hair, I like the hair as well. It's not just the kind of plain white. I like the way you've kind of come in and done some kind of some black tones to it. These have got a nice highlight to them as well. I'm not sure if it's metallics or not, but they look really nicely highlighted. Love the color choices with the pink and the black. Really stands out. And that, please tell me that's a transfer. I hope it is. my eyesight couldn't paint something like that. But yeah, really beautiful work. I do love those. And the colour choices are really nice. I've not seen that colour choice before, but yeah, looks awesome. Beautiful work, Sarah. Thank you for taking part. Next up, we got Samir Patel. And Samir, I know, has been painting something to do with Lord of the Rings. And he said, here's my submission for the first painting challenge of 23. When you mentioned the topic of It Begins, I immediately thought of Theoden at Helm's Deep, which was this one, So It Begins. He says, no better time to get a new army started. My submission is a Rohan standard bearer from Lord of the Rings strategy battle game. And so it begins. Lovely work, mate. I'm assuming that looks very much freehand on there. Looks very nice, mate. Nice work as well on the colours, like the basing. Yeah, nice. You even painted the eyes as well. I'm impressed, mate. I've seen the size of these models. They're tiny as well. I don't think I'd be painting the eyes. But yeah, nice work on the shield as well, mate. Nice work with the hair and the cloaks. Beautiful. Lovely colour choice as well on the banner. Thank you, Samir. Awesome work there, buddy. Skullduggery, you did manage to scrape in by the skin of your teeth there to make the deadline for this. So, Skullduggery said, a bit down to the wire, but I'm not too late with my entry. Still needs a couple of finishing touches, but these guys are almost there. Regarding the theme, this little band of kobolds stand at the beginning of many things. The first minis I've painted for my husband's D&D game, the participants in the first conflict in said game, and the first time I've used painting journal for a project. Thanks and good luck with the stream. Thank you very much. So, Skullduggery, this is very nice. Love the colour choices again. The blue really does pop with the greens there as well. Very nice. Love the basing. Really gone to town with the basing. I like that. Nice highlighting as well across the chest. And there we go. I'm not familiar with these models, but they're very nice. I do like those. Awesome work. Thank you very much. And thank you for entering as well. And Tony Howell we have next. Let's see what Tony's been saying. I can find his email. Oh, there he is. Tony said, my minis painted this year. It begins. There we go. I'm assuming, I think these are Necromunda minis, aren't they? I'm not overly familiar with the GW stuff, but I'm pretty sure these are Necromunda minis. Love the colour choices. Has always made the kind of the transition from that kind of sort of creamy beige into that, like, looks like they've been dragged through the blood, is awesome, mate. Green gun as well, nice choice. Love them, mate. They look really, really nice. And nice work on the bases as well. I like the kind of the worn sort of black bits as well to the chevron, like the checker, what they called again? The worn stripes. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much, mate. Awesome work as always, and thank you for taking part. And last but not least is mine. I actually painted something this month. Lo and behold, after not picking up a brush in quite some time, I got the once I'd done this hobby room as well and got everything sorted, I got the urge to start painting again. Now all my stuff's kind of around me. So I painted up Groot, and then I thought, well, I can't paint Groot and not paint up Rocket. So I painted up Rocket as well. And I quite like the fact that the two models, I like where his arm is going down through the ground and then popping back up and out where Rocket is. And these were really simply done. This was just kind of, it was contrast brown all over the model, and then a few different layers of kind of lighter browns as dry brushes, and then a few layers of greens just in certain places. And then I painted a little bit of white into these areas here and picked them out with some yellows and some contrast paint and stuff like that just to highlight them. And then I basically copied the same method for the bit of root coming out from there from Rocket. And then I just basically gave him his orange kind of jumpsuit from the prison and a nice bright yellow gun there as well, just to kind of pick it out. And I even tried to pick out the fur on his face. And all I did was really, I kind of just started with contrast paints to give them a nice kind of base colour, and then just gradually picked out little bits and pieces. So, yes, and to give you some kind of context, that's the size of Groot. Let me just show you. Yes, that. So when you saw that on screen, that's how big it is. It's bloody tiny. So yes, even I managed to paint something this month, which was it's been unheard of for most of last year's challenges. Thank you very much, by Robert Fallon, by the way, for that amazing donation there. I don't know why it hasn't popped up on screen yet, unless it's running a bit behind. But it was an awesome $50 donation. You are an absolute legend. I haven't been on in a bit, and you mentioned Infinity. It makes me happy. Mazel tov, more Infinity. Get a game with Fast Panda. Thank you, Robert. You are an absolute legend. Thank you very much. Yeah, loads of people. Bit of chit chat going backwards and forwards. But about the different minis and stuff. League's good. Nice Mars Attacks. Did look a little bit Mars Attacks, didn't it? Because of Ben says, where do we take part in this model challenge? So what I do is every month we have a new topic, and you have all month to paint a model that kind of fits with that topic. So this month, this January just gone, the topic was It Begins. It was the start of the year, and the idea was you might be starting a new army, so it begins. So let's see what you're painting on your new army. Or maybe you are starting a new game because you got a game for Christmas, or you got some models for Christmas. So it begins, I'm beginning to paint it. Or maybe you could kind of like, it was something in a particular game, like you sort of, maybe you've started winning, so you started painting your miniatures, so it begins kind of thing. So that was the theme this month. That was the theme in January. There'll be a new theme now for February that I'm frantically racking my brains to think of. And you will have all month to paint something. So let me have a look at my calendar, and I'll tell you when the cut-off point will be. So you have from today until until Sunday the 26th of February. So that's a full 4 weeks. So you have 4 weeks, and you have to email your painted miniature photos to me. The email address is blackjacklegacy@gmail.com. It's the same email address every month. Email me your pictures. Just put February Painting Challenge in the title. And then basically what I do is on the following Monday, which will be the 27th. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, the 27th of February. We'll show everybody, all of the community's paint jobs off. So the challenge for this month, it's February. We have to do the month of love, don't we, for Valentine's Day. So this month, love is the theme, and I want you to paint something with love in mind. Now it might be it's a model that you love, that you've always wanted to paint and you've never got around to it, but you know, it's something that you've really wanted to paint, you love to paint it. So that's where it comes from. Maybe it's a new army that you've fallen in love with. Maybe it's a new game that you've fallen in love with. Maybe it's a model that you're painting for the love of your life to give them as a gift. Maybe it is something that your friends would love you to play. So you're painting up a model to join in maybe a D&D campaign, or maybe you're painting up something to kind of to play a game with them. Maybe it's two models that you think love each other, so you're painting those kind of things. Maybe you're painting up a dwarf because he loves beer, so you're painting up your drinking dwarf. Whatever it is, love is the theme this month. February is the month of love. So yes, that's this month's challenge. And yes, so you have from today until the 26th of February. Email it to me, blackjacklegacy@gmail.com, and we'll collate them all together, and then on the 27th Monday stream we'll be showing them all off. Awesome. Let's have a little look. Super Pumpkin Man says, I might have missed it, but did you get my submission? It certainly didn't show up in my emails, mate, unless I've completely overlooked it. I basically go through whenever anything comes in, I flag it and I put it into a folder, and I certainly didn't see it, mate. Let me just double check. I'm almost certain. Yeah, I've not missed. I don't think I've missed it, mate. There's nothing that I've got here. But I apologise, mate. But yeah, it might have gone into a junk folder or something like that. Let's have a little look down the chat here. Everyone's seeing some nice stuff happening here. Blending on robes is nice. What's seeing Groot? Blizzard's nice to see you, mate. How are you doing? This says just got back from wound care. Hope you're doing well, mate. Anyway, more importantly, Newtown Public Safety says I am Groot. Nice to see you. And Wolverine says Groot is a nice texture. It looks a bit harsh, blown up to the size of the screen, but yeah, like I said, he is blooming tiny. So yeah, it did all right. And it was nice to get painting again. I enjoyed it. Yoakum saying, awesome work with the painting challenge, everyone. Thanks for doing these challenges. They are really motivating. I'm glad folks are motivated to do it. Ariel Sanchez, nice to see you in the chat tonight as well. Says, I'm guessing the price of Star Wars Shatterpoint box was discussed. It was very, very briefly discussed. $164, I think it is in the US. £145 in the UK. I think it's kind of acceptable, he says, in inverted commas, considering the cost of other stuff these days of similar nature and the amount of stuff that you get in the box. For me personally, it will all kind of boil down to whether the rules are kind of something I want to play, whether it's something I'll pick up or not, but certainly I'm interested in it, let's put it that way. Let's have a little look. Clyde saying, sick as a sick dog this month, so nothing from this wretch. Samia saying, great job on the submissions, everybody. You're so inspiring. It's nice to see what everybody's doing. Yeah. Clyde says, man, I need to get into Crisis Protocol. Yeah, February's challenge. So you know what February's challenge is now then? It is the challenge of love. Invisible says, is there a Discord or something so I can keep in touch? One of your painting challenges might give me something other than orcs to paint. There is a Discord, but it is for Patreons only. So if you're a member of the Patreon, you can join for as little as $2 a month. That gets you access to the Blackjack Legacy Discord group. And there, that is then basically, it doesn't matter whether you join at $2 a month or you join at $20 a month to the Patreon. Everyone gets to access the Discord group. Angel McLeod says, I'm really interested in playing Marvel Crisis Protocol and I would do X-Men. I'm actually, the next model I've started painting is, I've started painting Star-Lord at the minute. So very basic, just kind of blocking in the colours at the moment. But yeah, I watched the Guardians of the Galaxy movie while I was painting Groot and kind of decided to have a look through. So I've decided to kind of get inspired by that. So I'm starting to paint all of my Guardians of the Galaxy models at the moment. Invisible says, another mini painting group is always good for tips and tricks. Yeah, it's nice. Basically, the Patreon group, there's some awesome folks in there. Really friendly, really welcoming, really inclusive. Doesn't matter what level you're at of gaming or painting or hobbying or anything like that. It's a nice kind of supportive group for everybody, and lots of people with lots of experience to give kind of newer painters and stuff as well some help as well. Type 40 Tyler saying, what was the February challenge? Yeah, I think we've covered that one now. Yeah, so love. It might be if you just something you love. It might be for somebody you love. There you go. Type 40 Tyler, I have the perfect mini for this. Yes. Wolverine says, I'm thinking of maybe doing Avengers in Crisis Protocol. Are they good? I play Avengers, mate. I think they're good. Yeah, Samir says, it's going to be an interesting challenge for Ferb. Yeah. Matt says, I want to find someone doing a Gretchen staggering under a massive heart-shaped box of chocolates. If you want to send me chocolates, I'm happy with that. EMC says, sorry, spammed your box with mini pictures. I'll check them out afterwards, mate. James says, painted most of Valkyrie while watching tonight. Nice to put paint to plastic. It's nice, mate, and it's sometimes just the kind of like I've said before with these Marvel minis, they're just one-offs. You just gotta, you've got to paint one model, that's it. Once it's done, it's done. You don't have to replicate it across an army or anything. I just find it so sort of like enjoyable to paint like that. Angel McLeod says, does anyone play in the Northeast? I'm in Hartlepool and looking for games. Yeah, well, are we talking about Marvel Crisis? There's a big scene in the Northeast, mate. So if you go to Protect Games, is in Middlesbrough. That's not too far from you. There's a big Marvel Crisis Protocol group there. If you want to come a little bit further north, you can come up to Newcastle. At Newcastle Warlords, there's a big Marvel Crisis Protocol group there as well. There's a few dotted about, and they have like events almost on a monthly basis as well. So there's plenty of games to be had. I think there's actually a Northeast Marvel Crisis Protocol Facebook group as well, so you could check that out. James is saying, I don't love the minis in that Shatterpoint box. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I don't know how those models can be as fun and varied as the MCP ones. I think we haven't seen too much yet. I think what we'll see is over time we'll see the Star Wars games spreading out across the different eras and the different kind of stories of Star Wars. Excuse me, and I can honestly see them kind of spreading out from more than just that kind of Rebels era, if you like. I think we'll start to see it coming into the more modern day stuff and into the kind of original trilogies as well. So I think there's a good range of stuff. I also think we'll start to see some of the things from things like the Bad Batch, and we'll start to see some of like Andor, and we'll start to see bits and pieces like that, I think, coming at some point. Ariel saying, the price of Shatterpoint killed my enthusiasm a bit, but if there's a game that can bring my autistic son into the hobby, this is it. Legion is just too big and complex. I think, don't forget, like, what you get in that starter box, there's quite a lot in there. I think off the top of my head is there 15 miniatures inside the starter box. There's terrain in there, there's dice in there, there's cards in there, there's movement templates in there. Like, there's quite a bit inside the box. Whether it's value for money, I guess it really depends upon how much it's worth it to you. But if I compare it, first of all, compare it to the Marvel Crisis Protocol core box when that first went on sale, because I think that was like £110 or something like that when it first went on sale. It might have even been more, and we're going back a few years ago now, but it becomes discounted. The price comes down. They want you to get started. There's 20% off in a lot of places and stuff like that. So if we say it's like £145, 20% off that, what's that, another 30 quid off it, it starts to come down towards like 100, 110. So maybe that's not quite so bad. Maybe go halves with somebody if somebody's thinking of getting into it as well. So there's ways around it. There's ways around it. Super Pokemon says, we're very pro bacon. We certainly are, mate. RG says, can't see that I like the gameplay of Marvel United. Can't see that I like the gameplay of Marvel United, but the chibi minis are another set to paint. Yeah, I know VJ loves the Marvel United minis as well. Angel saying, I would love to, but unfortunately I don't drive. It does make it a little bit difficult, mate. I'm not sure if there's anything around Hartlepool area, but I would think Middlesbrough is probably the closest. Or is it like Stockton way? I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly where ProTech games are, but ProTech would probably be your closest, I would imagine, mate. Frantic says it's a big chunk of money to try a new game. It is a big chunk of money, but then look at the price of Necromunda box sets, look at the price of Adeptus Titanicus box sets, look at the price of Kill Team box sets. Like, everything's creeping up now. Like, everything costs more money now. And I'm not saying it's cheap, I'm not even saying it's good value, but it's kind of in line with a lot of other stuff now, unfortunately. And that's just how it is, unfortunately. You don't have to buy it, nobody's forced to buy it. And yeah, and I guess people will vote with their wallets. If it's too much, it'll sit on a shelf and it'll get heavily discounted. Wolverine said, I'm thinking of picking up Vision and painting him as a white Vision for MCP. Yeah, that would look nice, mate. Jez says, if you get a full playable game for that, it's not bad. You wouldn't get that from many games for that amount. Yeah, there is that as well, mate. I mean, if the Marvel Crisis Protocol box is anything to go by, you literally can play Marvel Crisis Protocol with everything that's in that box. It's not like you're not playing like a half a game. You're not playing like a smaller points cost or anything like that. You are playing a full point, fully fledged game of Marvel Crisis Protocol with everything that's in that box. I'm assuming this is going to be exactly the same as well. Angel says, does anyone play Rumble Slam and what do you think? I think there's a few Rumble Slam players in this group. I've played it a little bit, been a long time ago. It's kind of casual. Like I find it's kind of like, it's not something I would play competitively, but it's a good bit of fun as a bit of Friday night beer and pretzels type of thing. James is going to give us the list of what Shatterpoint contains. I might actually be able to get it up on the screen here, actually, if I can find it. The quickest way will probably be through Facebook, actually, because everybody's been sharing a load of stuff today to stay what's been getting shared and stuff. Let's have a little look. If I can find it. Let's have a little look here. See if anything comes up quick. There we go. Let's have a little look in here. Let's see what we've got. So, see if we've got some. I'm sure somebody will be sharing some pictures of what's inside the box. There's been lots of stuff here. So here we go. So, here's what we get. Let's have a little zoom in a bit. So it's saying contents: 16 miniatures, 23 terrain pieces, 2 movement tools, 5 range tools, 4 order cards, 12 unit stack cards, 12 stance cards, a mission card, 9 struggle cards, 14 dice, a struggle token, 16 momentum tokens, 1 struggle tracker, a punch board, and a core rulebook as well. So those are the miniatures that you get inside, which, remember, they're slightly bigger scale. They're more Marvel Crisis Protocol scale than kind of like your normal 28mm miniatures. But it is very much Clone Wars era stuff. So if that's not your kind of thing for Star Wars, then it maybe doesn't kind of float your boat. I love like the Rebels cartoon and stuff like that. So this is kind of right up my street, and the artwork is very much kind of the kind of Rebels style as well. So yeah, I like it personally. And the terrain, it's hard to see from this picture, like with the terrain, because it just looks like you get like a bit of an L-shaped type thing. So when it says 23 terrain pieces, like are each of those kind of like the legs there, are they classed as one? I'm not sure. Oh, that must be the terrain piece you get. So that's, to be honest, that's quite a bit of terrain for a starter box, because I know there's a couple of terrain sets that's up for pre-order as well. Oh, actually, that might not be it. Let me double check. So those are the miniatures that you get inside. Quite like those, actually. I wonder if that's the terrain that you get in as well, because then there's, oh, that's the higher ground terrain pack. Oh, that is the higher ground terrain pack. And then, is that the same one again? And these are the extra packs as well that you get, that you can buy. So there's the Hello There squad pack, and then there's the Twice the Pride squad pack. So those are like expansion boxes that you can buy. And then that's the Take Cover terrain pack. I think they're about $74 or something, those packs. Those are dice, movement, range finders or range rulers. So yeah, so there's quite a chunk of stuff in there. Quite a chunk of stuff. So yeah, it's personally, I don't think it's that bad value. Wolverine said, I don't like the look. I kind of don't like the look of MCP Vision. It's based on the comic books, isn't it? It's not based on the movies. I think that's probably why. Jez says, I tell you what's amazed me with this Goblin ambush box. It's got building instructions from Mantic. Apparently, mate, all of the ambush boxes have instructions. I wish it was something that they had in all of the boxes, but yeah, I think all of the ambush boxes have got them in. Nunja, nice to see you in, mate. Says, just put in to say hey, drop a like. Can't wait to watch this later tonight. James says, not sure how I feel about this, saying recommended card sleeves, 1 pack orange, game genic on it. I think, to be honest, mate, all kind of Fantasy Flight, like AMG stuff, I've always kind of said that. And it just says, like, I think when it's saying 1 pack of orange game genic, I think that's just because it's part of their company, I think. And I think what they do is they do it by colours for certain sizes. So I think they're just kind of telling you what size you need that way. And when you're saying just the need for card sleeves, I think anybody that has cards in a game generally sleeves them, to be honest. Ariel says that the Shatterpoint minis are gorgeous, and I'm not even a Star Wars animation fan. Wolverine saying, who's in your Avengers roster for MCP? It kind of changes, mate, from time to time, but the last time I played it, I probably had, I'm trying to think now, I had Hulk, Captain America, I had Black Widow, I had... who do I have in it? I'm trying to think now. I think I had Iron Fist. Oh, who else did I have? I can't remember, mate, if I'm perfectly honest. It's been a little while since I played. And Super Pokemon says I might get a few pieces from this. Yeah, you might get some bits and pieces on eBay and stuff, like kind of broken down for it and that, but the Shatterpoint cards are like tarot size cards, like Malifaux. Yeah, I think I read that somewhere, mate. Maybe that's why they're telling you what size cards that are recommended. All cool. Anyway, I think we're getting to towards the end of the stream now. I appreciate everybody coming in tonight. It's been a good old chat. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have too. If you haven't, give the video a nice little a thumbs up. That would be massively appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would love it if you also subscribe so that you get notified when the live streams go live and all that kind of stuff. Watch out later this week. There will be a video tomorrow, which is the interview that I did with Doug from Blackside Studios. We're talking about Hametsu, so looking forward to sharing that with you. I've also been filming the kind of the hobby room tour as well, so that needs to be all edited up as well. That needs to be done, so we should get that out later this week, I think. And obviously there'll be the clips video from tonight as well for those folks that don't enjoy watching the full live streams. So take care, everyone. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Christian, as well as always, for coming in and moderating the chat tonight and sharing the links. Always appreciated. Everybody give a thank you to Christian as well. So take care all, and I will see you in the videos, and I'll see you in next Monday's live stream. Take care, folks.